Congratulations. If you are watching this video, that means you made it to the last chapter, chapter 11, last chapter in your Accounting Principles BSAD 101 class. This chapter is primarily on payroll, and so our video today, our video is going to be in two parts. It's going to be working one problem, but we're going to work half the problem and then switch to a different video. So our problem is going to be on payroll, and we're going to go through several different facets of calculating payroll. So having said that, let's get right to our problem here. And setting up our problem, it says that Kid Company pays its 2 employees weekly. Each employee's gross pay is subject to FICA, which Social Security part of FICA, which is 6.2%. And that's only the first $100,000 that they make in a calendar year is subject to that 6.2%. They're also subject to FICA Medicare at 1.45%, and that is all of their pay. They're also subject to federal unemployment tax, that's FUTA, that's 0.8 of 1%, and only the first $7,000 is subject to that. Then we've got state unemployment at 6%. That's the first $7,000. Kid Company is preparing its payroll for the week ended April 16th and has the following payroll information for each employee. We've got 2 employees, Kramer and Ross. You can see their total pay in this calendar year through April 9th, their gross pay just for this particular week, their federal tax withheld for this week, and their state tax withheld for this week. In addition to gross pay, Kid Company must pay 1/2 of the $90 per employee weekly health insurance, with each employee paying the remaining half. Kid Company also contributes an extra 5% of each employee's gross pay to a pension fund. No cost for the employees of the pension fund. Okay, a lot to dissect here, and we're going to just do this a little bit at a time here. So let's go to the first thing we want to calculate here. First thing we want to calculate, the bottom line, is each employee's FICA withholding for Social Security. All right, on FICA, the employee pays their FICA for Social Security, and the employer matches it. What we're asking for right here is the employee's portion of Social Security FICA. Well, it's 6%. As you can see up in the paragraph up above here, it is 6%, and only subject to the first $100,000 that employee makes. So looking at Kramer there, I'd like to have Kramer's job. He has made $98,000 through April 9th. That's January 1st through April 9th. That's not too bad. This week he made another $3,000. So because of that $100,000 ceiling there, only $2,000 of Kramer's pay is subject to that 6.2%. Looking at Ross has only made $4,000 through April 9th, made $1,200 this week, the 9th through the 16th. So all of Ross's pay for this week is subject to the full 6.2%. So let's look at our calculation here. So again, we're calculating each employee's FICA withholdings for Social Security for this week, weekly pay period. Kramer, we take the 2,000 times 6.2% equals 124. Ross, we take 1,200 times 6.2% for 74.40. And again, to reiterate, Kramer's only has to pay FICA on the first 100,000, at least Social Security FICA. That's why we only took the 6.2% times 2,000 for Kramer. Of course, next week, how much of Kramer's pay is going to be subject to Social Security FICA? None of it is, because he'll be over that 100,000 ceiling, at least until December 31st. All right, let's go to our next thing we want to calculate. Next thing we want to calculate is each employee's FICA withholdings for Medicare. A little bit different here. Medicare has no ceiling. So we took the full $3,000 of Kramer's pay this week times the FICA Medicare rate of 1.45%. And again, Ross, we took the full amount, also $1,200 times 1.45%. Okay, let's look at the next thing we want to calculate. Employers' FICA taxes for Social Security. Well, this is really simple. The employer matches what the employee put in. So you can see that this screen is exactly the same as that previous screen where we calculated the employee's FICA taxes for Social Security. 124 for Kramer, 74.40 for Ross. The next question is going to be to calculate the employer's FICA taxes for Medicare. And if you're thinking that it's going to be exactly the same as the previous slide where we calculated the employee's FICA taxes for Medicare, you are correct. You can see we did the exact same calculation. Kramer, 3,000 times 1.45%, and Ross, 1,200 times 1.45%. Okay, let's go ahead and take a break right here. We're going to conclude this presentation. The problem continues on in Chapter 11, Part 2.